detachment. When certain traumas or past experiences that are triggered, I now have a process of detaching from them, which kind of is just like realizing that the experience is no longer happening. It's not a part of my life today. At this very moment, I acknowledge that the fear and anxiety that surfaces because of this traumatic experience is valid for the time that it happened. And I'm very grateful that my mind wants to protect me with these instincts as kind of a warning, like, hey, we've been in this situation before. Remember what happened? And instead of like fighting it, ignoring it, or covering it up with habits of whatever, that sitting with it, accepting it for what it was and the purpose that it served back in the day, is just no longer needed. And that, you have gratitude and love and non-judgmental thoughts about this reaction, and you release that energy, which leaves a space within that is filled with love and peace and gratitude and forgiveness. And for the last couple months, things have been coming up over and over and over for me. And the process of detaching has become quicker. It's become like I recognize it a lot faster when the anxiety and fear and guilt and negative thoughts, self-thoughts come into my mind. Judgmentalism, if that's even a word. So I recognize it quicker, and I'm able to walk through my process of detaching from it quicker. But through this process of no longer being attached to the dysfunction and the trauma and the radical self-talk and just the chaos of it all. Without that, I started feeling emotionless. I started feeling like, well, I don't feel one way or another about this situation, or this situation, as things would come up in my life where normally I would be all up in a frenzy and complaining and making sure that my story was heard because I'm always right and I'm the victim. And now that I am not in that state of being any longer, I start asking myself, What have I done? I am emotionless. I I have no judgment on this or that. Well, if this is what's happening, then this is what's supposed to be happening. It's not right, it's not wrong, it just is. And living in this state, I started panicking again. Because I'm like, am I going to be walking around being this emotionless person? But then I started telling myself, well, no, because I'm thinking about the ones that I love, the people in front of me at the grocery store, or anyone I would meet um, at any other function. I still connect with them. I still care. I still love. But when I'm on my own is when I feel that emotionless. So I heard recently someone speak about this, and I wanted to share it. If you yourself are learning to detach, and finding yourself that this indifference is kind of making you feel emotionless. So we are so used to growing up in our conditioning and the traditions throughout family and culturally. We live in this state of survival all the time, and something is either right or it's wrong, and it's either one side or the other. And that is what that constant yo-yoing back and forth and up and down. And the lack of trauma is actually peace. So because I am not triggered by the emotions of trauma, that lack of emotion is actually peace. And realizing this allows me to fill that space that's lacking the negative reactions and emotions of trauma with something much more powerful and enlightening. And this realization a couple weeks ago has allowed me to fill this space with something much bigger. Also, this lack of turmoil is happiness. Now, when we think of happiness, when I think of happiness, I think of going out to dinner and having a good time with friends, or happiness is watching my child, take a first step, and that's just pure happiness. Seeing someone excel at something, think of something that's made you really, really happy. And you notice I say that had made you really, really happy, because that happiness that comes from external experiences is temporary. It has a beginning, it has an end. It doesn't last forever. But this lack of turmoil and trauma within yourself, that is eternal. That is this happiness that I have attained through detaching from traumatic experiences will always be here. It has always been here, ready to be revealed, but I have access to it now. And we all have access to this state of being. by detaching from our traumas, our egoic conditioning. And it's an amazing discovery. And I'm just forever grateful to have been able to experience this and share it with you.